Good morning, my Teaserking family. Teaserking here. I want to talk about baseball. I've been very hot these first few days with my theory on using my football theories for baseball and just go over what the hell's going on with gold and silver and COMEX and the new ruble and everything else that people are talking about to explain it the real way, the proper way. Please let me know any questions. So let's go to baseball and we will see what the hell is happening. Well, first, let's give a quick gold update and then we'll get to baseball. So gold right now is at 1951, up $1.50. Silver's 25.08, down 3 cents. Bitcoin's at 41,301, down $204. So the first question is, well, why is Bitcoin down? Because it's not real. It's not an asset. It's not a hedge against inflation. We don't know what it is. To me, it's PayPal. And all the Bitcoin users, I need you to explain why you bought it in real terms, not, well, I think it's going to go up, so I'm going to make money, as if it's a stock like Apple. It's a way to sell. It's a way to get out of the system, out of the fiat system, and it's a way to sell trade to other people, but you can't go into a restaurant and give them Bitcoin. I go into a restaurant, which I did yesterday. I went to a barbecue restaurant, the Boneyard on Telegraph Road. Very good. Had a long talk with the owner about gold and silver and paid him. My bill came to $21 and I gave him a silver coin just to prove that, yes, you can pay in silver. He took it. He knows it's worth, it would cost him $33. He took the silver coin. There you go. Would he have taken Bitcoin? If he has an account, I'd have to get it to him. And maybe silver coin, he was excited. And we're both laughing because we're both into the silver and gold. So yes, you can eat with silver just to do that. Now let's get into baseball. So here's my theory. We know football, we figured it out. We look for good over teams. We look for under teams like Georgia, Miami of Florida is an over team. We look for A teams like Georgia. We look for Z teams like, I don't know, who was bad, like New Mexico State. How did we do it? Well, we figured out, well, we're looking for quarterbacks. We're looking for defense. We're looking for scores. Do they give up 40 points a game? Do they score 40 points a game? Where's the spread screwed up? Miami of Florida over-unders were 50 points. Why were they so low? When Van Dyke would throw 5 touchdowns a game, and their defense wasn't very good. So when you find a great quarterback with a bad defense, it's an over. When you find a good quarterback with a good defense like Georgia, it's an A team. So that's what you're looking at. And the best defense won, as is always the case in football. So, okay, Howard, how the hell does it translate into baseball? What do you mean? We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a defense. Yes, we do. The quarterback's the pitcher. We have an offense that's good or bad. And then we have a bullpen. So what we need now is we need to factor in the bullpen with the offense. Carrie, hello, if you're out there. Nice to talk to you. Please feel free to join in the conversation. FYI, I am on Yahoo Sports, so I have not seen the video. I know you can do minimize and stuff like that, but right now I'm just going to kind of hunt back and forth. So the first thing I'm looking for, the first thing I need to do, and this is why I need another week or two, is to calculate the bullpens. Are they good or bad? Then I can see the starting pitchers are starting to get 2-3 games in. Now their ERAs are getting pretty justified. I like it more team versus team. So when the Dodgers play the Giants, San Francisco Giants, I once won a bet and the kid tried to back out of it by saying, I bet against the 49ers with this kid. He was in junior high school. And I says, well, I had Dallas, let's say, and they were playing against San Francisco, and he said, "Oh no, no, no! I thought I was playing the San Francisco Giants." This was his way to try to welch. Was no, I thought it was the San Francisco Giants. I'm like, this is football. It's the New York Giants. It's the 49ers. We had Dallas. You lost. Pay up. But it was cute that he would try to go, no, I meant the San Francisco Giant, the New York Giant, It was just funny how he was trying to scam, but you can't scam the Teaserking. And you can't tilt me either. I don't tilt. So if you play poker with me, you see me in Vegas at the Venetian or Caesars, and you think you can tilt me, you can't. So I just kind of laugh, and I'm very good at tilting other people, but we'll get into that in another episode. So let's go to the first game, Pitt, Milwaukee. I don't care about the rest. I look at the pitchers, Pitt, some Keller guy, 0-2 with a 9.39 ERA. That tells me he stinks, and it'll be high scoring. And then I said, well, who are they playing? So there's three choices. They're playing the ace, who has a 1 point ERA. They're playing a middle guy with a 3 ERA, and they're playing the dog with the 7 ERA. Well, here they're playing the dog, this Brandon Woodruff, 1-1 with a 7.27 ERA. So I'm sitting there going, well, I got a high ERA against a high ERA. And the over-under is only 8. I go, oh, shit, 8's nothing for 2 ERA pitchers. So then I look at the bullpens. Here's where I'm trying to fill in the blanks, but they're not correct. Do I see a weak bullpen with Pitt or Milwaukee? And so far, no, but they might be. I do see Pitt has a strong bullpen, but I don't see Milwaukee. So again, it depends. And again, what happens is they have a few good relievers, but like I was looking at the line score of the Tigers, and they brought in like 6 pitchers, and the starter that I went and bet against only pitched an inning and a half, and he gave up 2 or 3 runs, and then you're bred in the next pitch, and then some of them have low ERAs, some have high ERAs. So that's why I need like a week to really let them get out there. But you can see this is what's tough. The quarterback comes in the game. That's it. Tom Brady plays the whole freaking game. There's no pitch counts. These guys, you might have 7, 8 pitchers come in the game. I mean, so it makes it difficult because now you're scouting the whole pitching staff, not one pitcher. You're not betting Brady. You're betting all the Tampa Bay quarterbacks. So superficially, this game looks over. I do see a Pitt with a strong bullpen, but that could be misleading. And I see Milwaukee. I don't see anything. I don't have any notes if it's a good offense or a bad offense. I do have like Tampa Bay and Baltimore, no offense. Arizona, no hitting. Cubs are strong. Miami's strong. So things like that. So we'll go through each game, and this is how we'll figure it out. Now, yesterday I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 7-2, 7-3, 8-3, 9-3, 10-3, 11-3. I went 11-4 yesterday. Picking it like this, and I think this will work. And the more data we get, so after a month, then the ERAs are going to be solid, and then the hitting is going to be solid, and then we'll really know the weak offenses from the strong offenses, and more or less the pitchers, and more or less will the starter go. You're assuming the starter goes 6 innings, but who knows? In today's, he threw 30 pitches. We better take him out. He might get hurt. What's the point of having a pitcher on your staff that can't go 8 innings is a joke to me. And I know because I pitch, so it's not a problem. So the first game is Pitt over because the ERAs are extremely high. A 9.39 and a 7.27. They both, the first guy's 0-2, the other guy's 1-1. So it's not like they pitched 2 innings. These guys have pitched 2 full game, 2 games. So we again, without looking at the hitting, we're betting against the pitcher, go over, and it's only 8. So again, here's where the football line. If Miami of Florida is playing UCLA and they're both explosive and both great offenses and great quarterbacks and weak defenses, and the over-under is 50, it's a lock. If the over-under is 70, I bet it real small. Like we did with Georgia. Every game they played was in the 50s for some reason, and nobody could score on them, and you would end up with a game in the upper 30s or low 40s, championship game. Uh, it was so fixed for Alabama that incomplete pass they give them a fumble on and gives Alabama a touchdown. You take that away, then you get the pick six at the end, and you still were at what 33, 19, 18, you're at 51. The over under I think was 54, and that was with the terrible call and the pick six that he goes all the way with. And you still don't hit. You're still 51, and that's what Georgia. So all the over under should have been in the 30s with Georgia, and they kept them in the 50s. Thank you, Vegas, again screwing up. Not see. This is what's good about me is I catch the bullshit, the errors. Georgia should never anything in the 50s with Georgia's an under bet, especially in a teaser. 54 goes under 60. They're never getting to 60 in any game. They had the one game against Alabama when they laid down because they wanted to let Alabama in the playoff. I'm sure they got paid pretty handsomely. Outside of that, nobody scored. They shut out a freaking Arkansas. Florida got nothing. I mean, come on. I mean, what a beautiful team, but that's what you do. So the spread then makes it here. It's an 8 for an over under is a joke. With these two pitchers, the over under should be 10 at least. Again, they're taking averages. They're not looking at ERA. All right, let's get to the next game. I like to get my point across, so now we'll go a little faster. The Cubs go to Cleveland, play the Indians. Dallas Keuchel, Shane Barber. Keuchel's a really good pitcher, but his ERA is 5.4, and Shane Barber has a 2.7 ERA. So is Keuchel really a 5.4 pitcher, or is he not? And then it becomes match. How good's Cleveland's hitting? Now, here the interesting over-under is 7.5. I played this game Cleveland over. And why did I do it? I have the White Sox. The White Sox and the Indians. I have Cleveland with a weak bullpen. So what I have is Dallas Keuchel 5.4. Okay, maybe he I know he's a good pitcher, but let's say he's starting out slow. Cleveland, I figure Barber 2.7. So Chicago's going to score, and then you got to factor in the fact that their bullpen's weak. At least what I saw on a given day, the bullpen were not good ERAs. So again, as we get more data, so I went Cleveland over because of Cleveland's bullpen and the fact Keuchel's got a 5.4 ERA. Maybe it's going to take him a little while, but I know he's a good pitcher. So again, this would be a small play, but the play here is to go over because it's only 7.5. Next game is Atlanta and the Dodgers. You got Charlie Morton 1-1 with a 6 ERA. Tony Consolin 0-0 with a 1.29 ERA. So what do I have? I have a mix. I have a 6 ERA against a 1 ERA. So I can't really go over because I don't know that Atlanta's going to score. I can't really go under because Atlanta gives up a lot of runs with this Charlie Morton. So it leads me to play the pitcher, the 1.29 against the 6. So I am on the Dodgers because of the ERA discrepancy that I think he shuts them down and Atlanta can't stop him. I look LA and Atlanta, and I'm going to do it more like my football where I'll have each team and then I'll say good, weak bullpen, strong bullpen, good hitting, weak hitting. And I don't see anything on Atlanta or LA. So let's assume that Gonsolin does his 1.29. Morton does his 6.0. So you know Atlanta's got a weak pitcher out there, and it looks like the Dodgers, who knows who this Tony Consolin is. But his ERA is 1.29. You figure he's done 2 starts. So this is when we take the team versus the over-under. We take the Dodgers. Philly and Colorado. I got FN for Philly with a 4.5 ERA against Marquez with a 3.97 ERA. So that's right there. A 4.5 and a 4 is an 8.5. Over under 10.5 because it's in Colorado. I'm going over with this game because I can't trust either pitcher. I look at Philadelphia has a weak bullpen. Colorado, I don't see them with the strong bullpen. So because Philly's got a weak bullpen, Colorado will score, but Philly should score on this Marquise with a 3.97 ERA. Over-under's a little high at 10.5, but I notice in Colorado their over-unders are higher because of the more runs. So I like this game over. I think both teams are fairly bad, and they should have a lot of scoring in the game. So we got Philly over 10.5. Cincinnati and San Diego. Again, Gutierrez for Cincinnati, 0-2 with a 5.4 ERA, and Gore, 0-0 with a 3.3 ERA. Off of that, I lean towards San Diego a little bit. They've been hot. They're at home. Cincinnati's 2-10, so they look like the Lions of the baseball, and San Diego at 8-5. Does Cincinnati or San Diego come up in any of my things? I don't see them with strong bullpens or weak bullpens. Not yet. Cincinnati, San Diego. No. See, I don't really see them. So this game I'm playing over 8.5 because neither pitcher's really superstar pitcher, right? 3-3 and a 5-4. You're going to get runs in the game. And it's 8.5. I don't know what a good score is yet. And again, it goes to the bullpen. So as I document the bullpens, as I get another couple of weeks in and I can see, oh, San Diego's got a great bullpen. And again, you're going to be taking average because they'll bring in 5 pitchers. And it's so stupid because, believe me, to have 2 good pitchers out of your 5, you're lucky. So let's go San Diego over 8.5. The White Sox in Cleveland, part 2. So this is a doubleheader, and I know there's strange rules in the doubleheader about 7 innings, I think. I don't know. I don't remember the doubleheader, if it's still in effect. It was a COVID rule or not. But judging by, the first game might only be 7 innings because it is 7.5 with 2 lousy pitchers. And the same 2 lousy pitchers are going in game 2. You got Lambert at a 6 ERA against McKenzie at a 2.57 ERA. And in this game, I like Cleveland in game 2 because you have McKenzie at a 2.57 and Lambert at a 6. So it should, I'm staying away from the over-under, and I'm just going to take Cleveland in game 2. So again, a strange doubleheader. Baltimore, Oakland. Lyles, 0-1 with a 5.23 ERA for Baltimore. Jeffries for Oakland, 1-1 with a 1.93 ERA. So just based on Jeffries looking with the low ERA and only the low ERA, I have Baltimore with no offense, so I can't really go over with a team that has no offense. I don't have anything for Oakland. Baltimore. I have Oakland with the strong bullpen and nothing for Baltimore. So you got a strong bullpen going against a weak offense. You got a 1.93 ERA going against a 5.23 ERA, and Baltimore's 3-8, Oakland 7-5, which doesn't mean a whole lot yet. But I like Oakland in this game pretty strong. This would be a very strong play. The Cubbies in Tampa Bay. We got Rasmussen for Tampa Bay with a 0-1 with a 5 ERA, and Stroman for the Cubbies with a 6 ERA. You got 2 weak pitchers. Over-under's 9. I love this game over. What is it? Tampa Bay and the Cubs. Yeah, Tampa Bay over 9. Over-under 9. I love this game over. Both have pretty good teams. Hitting Tampa Bay I have with a weak offense. The Cubs I have as a strong offense. So it's a little bit of a more on the Cubs side if you want the dog. Tampa's actually favored for some reason. I guess Stroman's the worst pitchers with the 6 ERA, which then that leads me to the over. If the Tampa's favored, I got to go with the over in the game. So the over of 9. Again, we're betting 2 weak pitchers. Yankees in Detroit. Let me quickly check. Okay, I don't have any comments. Please leave them if you have them. And back to my baseball. Okay, the Yankees and the Tags. Sir, Severino, a 1.0225 ERA against Rodriguez. 0 with a 5.87. The better pitch is clearly New York. What did I do here? I took the Yankees. Detroit doesn't have much hitting bullpen wise. I don't have either with strong or weak bullpen or strong or weak hitting yet. I like the Yankees with the pitcher Cerveno. Rodriguez, Yankees should hit him pretty good, but because it's a 2 against a 5.87, then again, I'm going to the better pitcher. So I'm taking the pitcher, like the better quarterback. LA and Houston. This will be the lock of the day. California has Ohtani 0-2 with a 7.56 ERA against Odorizzi 0-1 with a 6.48. So I got two crappy pitchers, high ERAs. I got I got California with a weak bullpen, and they're playing Houston, who has a strong bullpen. So I'm looking for just the ERAs are huge. The over/unders 8.5. It's in Houston, which will give them definitely no weather problems. 8.5 with these two pitchers is a joke. You got an 8 against the 7. I mean, what are you kidding me? Then you have a weak bullpen in you have a strong bullpen in Houston, but California, you have a weak bullpen with California. So I'm looking for Houston will score a lot, but then so will California because Odorizzi's got a 6.48 ERA. So I think Houston wins this game because of the bullpen. And I think there'll be a lot of runs, and at 8.5 seems like a very low number with these two pitchers with those ERAs. So again, now in a month, they might have 4.0 ERAs, but right now that's what we're going on. This Ohtani's 0-2 with the 7.56, and Odorizzi's 0-1 with the 6.4. So neither of them are really any good, and they both give up a lot. Now, will that change? Will they get hot? Maybe, but I'm betting on what it is right now. And what it is now, this is the lock. Go Houston over 8.5. St. Louis and Miami. McCollus 1-0 with a 2.61 ERA for St. Louis. El Catara 1-0 with a 3.18 for Miami. And I'm playing this game under. Now, even though it is a low under, 7.5, but you have two strong pitchers. They're both 1-0, and they both have low ERAs. And I don't think Miami I have as an over, a good average team. I don't have anything on St. Louis, and I don't have anything on the bullpens. So right now, you got two strong pitchers. I'm looking for this game to be under. Plus, it's in Miami, which I think plays more under games. Miami's actually the favorite in this game, which maybe, but I like the game under. Arizona, Washington. We got Kelly for Arizona, 0-0 with a 0 ERA against Fetty. For Washington, 1-0 with a 3.60 ERA. And I am playing this game under 8.5. I don't know how much Kelly has pitched. 0-0. I'm assuming if he didn't pitch, the ERA would not be 0. It would be like NA or something. So I'm assuming this Kelly is good. And Washington, 3.60 ERA, over under of 8. So I'm liking the game under. And what do I have with Arizona and Washington? I got Washington with a weak bullpen, which would lead more to an over, and Arizona with a weak. So both of these teams have pretty weak bullpens. So I might have to adjust to an over, but not with these pitchers. See, if these pitchers, if it was the ERAs of LA and Houston, the sevens and the sixes with weak bullpens, then this would be the lock over. But because the starters are very strong, you don't know if you caught the bullpen on a weekday, if the good guys that pitched the night before and they rested. This is unknown at this point. As we get another week or two in, that all then starts coming out. You can see the ERA. So right now, Arizona, Washington, I'm going under 8.5 with this game. Too hard to pick a winner. Although Arizona is only 3-8, but Washington 6-7. Again, I'm not looking at the record quite yet, but we'll start looking at that. Toronto and the Red Sox both are 6-5. I got Burrows for Toronto, 0-0 with an 11.81 ERA, and Nick Pivetta for 0-2 with a 9.3 ERA. Give me a guess on which way we're going with this game. Boston and the over 9. Toronto and Boston. What do I have anything? I got them both with strong bullpens, which hurts. So the starters will get roughed up, and then the bullpens will shut them down. We got 9, but I'm going over with it. Again, if I had better pitchers, then it would be a lock under, like Frisco and the Mets are. You got a 1.5 and a 0.75 ERA. That would be a lock under with these bullpens. But with the starters, you assume they go 5 innings. They're going to give up 10 runs in the 5 innings, and then probably, there's always a couple of good relievers, and then you get the clunker out there to give up a few runs. And even the good relievers are going to give up some runs. So Toronto, Boston over 9. All right. The 49ers and the Giants, San Francisco and the Mets. We got Roden for Frisco, 1-0 with a 1.5, and we got Bassett, 2-0 with a 0.75. Oh my God. Frisco is actually the favorite in New York. And just looking at this, I'd like the Mets at with a guy with the pitcher at 0.75, but will he go more than 5 innings? See, if this was normal baseball and the guy goes 7-8 innings, I'd be all over the Mets because this guy's going to shut him out, and you would think the Mets would win 2-0. But because this is fake baseball, where we don't want anybody to get hurt, end up where it's definitely an under. Frisco under. It's 6.5, which again, look at the ERAs. Now, this is a smaller one because the ERA. Now, most of these most of the over-unders have been 8. Here's 6.5. This is extremely low, and therefore I don't want to get too. I can't make it big. It's like a Georgia game where the over-under is 40. Now you can't get all excited as you can when the over-under is 55. So if the over-under was 60, was 8, then this would be a lock. But it's 6.5, not. And I do see the Mets with the strong bullpen, and San Francisco with a strong bullpen. So the starters are going to come in, shut it out, and then the bullpens are strong, shut it out. Definitely like over 6.5. I think I just raised my bet 1 unit because now I'm seeing that not only you have good starters, but you got good bullpen, and a good pitcher will beat a good hitter 99% of the time, unless the hitter's Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, or Mickey Mantle. They're going to hit them. Now, what I find interesting in baseball now is so many bad hitters. Money, I want to say money heist, but Moneyball does not work. In other words, you can't have a guy who hits 100, foul 15 pitches. You can't have a guy go up to hit foul balls and try to draw a walk. You don't win with that. You win with hitters. You win with Mickey Mantle. You win with Babe Ruth. You win with Lou Gehrig. You win with Derek Jeter getting hits, getting home runs. That's how you win. Not with the guy who fouls 25 pitches off and draws a walk so the pitcher gets tired. You do with the bases loaded and 2 outs and this guy's up, is you're going to hit 52 foul balls and then strike out and then leave the runners on. See, that's the point they're missing, is the average. I don't understand any of this bullshit that they use, this OPS. What is it? And it's like it'll be 600 and they'll be all excited. Well, that's not his batting average. That's some bullshit figure. Or then they'll say this WAR. What is that? Nobody knows what it is, but they're all excited about. Well, he's got a good WAR. What does that mean? Doesn't win games. I want a guy with a good batting average who drives in runs. So when there's runners on base, he's going to get a hit to knock in runs. I don't want a guy. It's not about getting to the 10th pitcher and having guys walk and hit foul balls. That's not baseball. It's boring. That's why it's hard to watch now. They're worried about speeding up the game. Well, the whole mentality's screwed up. That's why these pitchers only go 5 innings or 6 innings, because the guys are fouling the balls off. They've got the whole concept wrong. It's not a bunch of 100 hitters who walk a lot. It's about 300 hitters. And that's what I'm looking at. So when I say Tampa Bay's got no offense, they probably got guys that walk a lot, but they got 6 guys on their team that don't hit 200. I'm going to bet on that. Okay, we need a hit. We need an actual hit. They can't hit. They're not good hitters. And that's the problem with baseball now. And that's basically, I'm not going to bet on that. But that, if you have good bullpen, then, as your first guy throws his 100th pitch, and my God, he's going to have a stroke because he threw 101 pitches. Here comes the bullpen, but if they're strong, then it should still lead to an under game. All right, Minnesota, Kansas City, both teams stink. Paddock, 0-1 with a 6.75, and Lynch for Kansas City, 0-1 with a 10.80. I think it's obvious which way I'm going. KC over 9. Just 2 terrible pitchers on 2 terrible teams. Let's see, what do I got? Minnesota, Kansas City. Minnesota, weak bullpen. Kansas City, I don't have anything. So you got Minnesota, a guy with a 6.75 ERA and a weak bullpen. Kansas City will score, and then Kansas City with Lynch, who gives up 10.8. I think they're gonna. I don't know. I think Minnie will score, and you only got 9. It's a 5-4 game. It's easier in football when you go, well, over under 46. I tease it over 40, and all I need is a 21-20 game. Baseball is a little bit different. Okay, I need a 6-4 game or something, but with these pitchers, I should get it. So anyway, this is a strong over. And the last game, Seattle and Texas. Seattle, Dunning for Texas with a 5.19 ERA against Gilbert for Seattle. 1-0 with a 0.9 ERA. There's no way you're going over under. The only way you can play this game is Seattle with a 0.9. Does Seattle have any bullpen? Anything? Texas? No, I got to go through that. That's what I'm going to work on. Probably this weekend we'll be filling in the ERA of the bullpens and the hitting, if they're good hitting or bad hitting teams. So here, I definitely like Seattle. They're a pretty good favorite, 150. Texas is 2-8. Now, again, I'm not really looking at records, but if I have to, let's look at the teams. Texas is the worst at 2-8, and Baltimore at 3-8. And there's no best team. The White Sox at 6-3, but I don't look at that. A few 7-5s. We go to the National League. And the weak team, Cincinnati at 2-10, Arizona at 3-8, and then we go to the best team was probably the Mets at 9-3, Colorado at 8-3. So no real strong teams. Cincinnati seems to be having problems, but I think they've been on the West Coast. They got San Diego for a couple games, and that definitely hurts you on the West Coast if you're from the Midwest. So that, my friends, is today's baseball picks. As I say, I've been on fire with that. I started Sunday doing it for Andrew, one of my customers, asking me, do I do baseball? Which I do baseball, but I told him I need to get studying on it. So this is me studying. And so, like I said, yesterday I was huge. The day before I was huge. I seem to be losing the over-unders more than the games. Like 2 days ago, I had Houston under 9, and it went over. And yesterday, I lost the Yankees over against the Tigers. And Atlanta over, I lost. So most of the games I'm betting are winning because the pitcher with the 1.0 ERA against the pitcher with the 6.0 ERA, I'm betting the 1.0 ERA and it's winning. So again, you're trying to figure out it's too early for the ERAs to be meaningful, but you get a little bit of a basis. Just like football, I didn't know Georgia had that strong defense till about 3 games in, and I go, oh, they're giving up 6 points a game, and they shut down Clemson, and you go, okay, well, Clemson's got a terrible quarterback, and then you started seeing Georgia roll, and I wish I would have got that. If I would have got that game near the end of the season, you would have saw unit lock from Teaserking on that game under because both teams had. I was betting Clemson under and Georgia under near about the middle of the season. Clemson, you could see with his great defense and no quarterback, and Georgia was this incredible defense, and they scored enough so they'd win 24 to nothing. I think they beat Arkansas 30 to nothing. So you're seeing these teams with this incredible defense, but they're not Miami or UCLA offensively. They're okay. And that's what but I didn't, that's what you miss in week one. I didn't know Georgia's defense was going to be this strong or Clemson, and I didn't know Clemson's offense. The quarterback was that bad. I thought he was bad, but I mean, he stunk. And here's what the coach has a problem is leaving this quarterback in. Look at Miami of Florida. They started off with the other guy, Eric King, and he sucked. I mean, he lost his job at Houston, didn't get it back, and then he comes to Miami and he's nothing. They lost to Michigan State. They barely beat App State. He gets hurt. Here comes Van Dyke. Why isn't Van Dyke in the game week one? I mean, what are you doing, coach? But he did get Van Dyke in it, and then look at it happen. Miami, I don't think, lost another game, and he scored 50 points a game with this guy. This guy's incredible. Clemson's got De'Aaron King going. Well, whatever they're Olagby or Ogleby or whatever the guy's name is. And he's terrible, but they keep him out there. Why? Why are you keeping this guy out? He's obviously bad. Go to your Van Dyke. They probably have a Van Dyke who's sitting out. He's probably a freshman or something, and the coach won't go to him. And look what happens. Clemson, is a weak team. And Miami looks pretty damn good, and I can't wait for Van Dyke this year. And we can bet it over week one because we know we got a quarterback, and he's better than any quarterback in the draft. So let's quickly talk draft. I'm seeing Malik Willis, and I'm laughing, going, "This guy sucks. This guy's not a good quarterback. This guy has no business." Let me see if I can open up my college real quickly. So Malik Willis. Why is everybody high on him? Because he's a running quarterback. He's an athlete. He's a Jalen Hurts. He's a Lamar Jackson. They don't win. How many playoff games has Lamar Jackson won? Have they gone to the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson? No, they never will because he's basically a running quarterback. And the other team, guess what? Is his pros has as much speed as Lamar Jackson. So therefore, it doesn't work. So Willis, I apologize, but I need my file to open up, and it's extremely slow for some reason. So when I look at it, then there's Kenny Pickett, and I'm going, no, he's a wimp because he sat out the bowl game against Michigan State. When you do that, that means you're not a real football player. You're free to get injured. God forbid you get injured in the game. Well, what if you got injured in the Clemson game or the Pitt-Penn State game or the Pitt-Miami game? What's the difference? This is a bowl game, and you're representing your guys, and this is when you should be playing. You're playing a good team. Maybe if you have a good showing, you'll be the top drafted, but no, because you sit out because you're afraid to get hurt, shows you're soft, shows you don't have heart, you don't have passion for the game, and therefore I would never draft one of these guys. And case in points like Fontenot. Fontenot comes in. Finally. Let's go to, where am I at? I think I'm 21. Yeah, I have an NCAA 21. All right, Malik Willis. Okay. He was on Independent, I think. Who was on Liberty? Where the hell was Liberty? Okay, hold on one second. Let me get to Malik Willis. I hate this Google Notes or whatever the hell fake Excel. It goes to the cloud, which I hate because I don't want my data on a cloud, and then it like loads up and it takes forever to scroll until it kind of locks in, and then it keeps trying to make changes for you. So let's see, Malik Willis. I apologize. I am trying to get to Malik Willis. Here we go. Malik Willis, Liberty, 12 games, 194 out of 315, 61%, which I don't care about anymore because there's all this bullshit thrown to the running backs and these little screens. 2,600 yards, 218 a game. Average yards per attempt, 83, touchdowns, 24, interceptions, 12, and he was sacked 50 times. So, what makes him the superstar quarterback? Good question. Let's look at Western Kentucky's Bailey Zappi, who's 1,000 times better. Throws for 414 yards a game and 52 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Who would you rather have? I would rather have Bailey Zapke because Bailey Zapke throws 52 touchdowns and 9, and I got Malik Willis throwing for 24 and 12. So not only did he throw 12 interceptions, he only threw for 24 touchdowns. And Liberty didn't do any good. They were not a good team last year. He didn't lead them and all that. So this is my point. So if I'm looking for the best quarterback in the draft, it's Zappi. It's the kid from UCLA, Thompson. It's my guy, Dick Van Dyke. Those are the guys I'm looking to get. So when I hear this idiot Mel Kiper reminds me of these guys saying, "Don't buy gold, buy stocks," or "Don't everything's fine." That's what Mel Kiper. He's done. Does anybody ever go to Mel Kiper and go, "Who'd you pick in last year's draft? Did you have this guy? No, or where'd you have him? Or, oh, you missed on these 20 players." The problem is he doesn't know what he's talking about, but people think he does. I don't know who's listening to him. If I'm a GM from football, I've got my Teaserking video going. And who does Teaserking like? He seems to be able to pick the draft pretty freaking good. And when they are drafted, he can tell me that Trevor Lawrence sucks, which he does, and Tagliabue sucks, which he does, and Jalen Hurts sucks. He knows this. And then he tells me Baker Mayfield's good. And then he tells me Joe Burrow is the number one, which obviously was pretty damn freaking easy. But that's, what I do. Now, my Jake Fromm, people are picking on me, but let's see what the training camp, if he's on the Giants or where he is, but he is a good quarterback. It's like watching the kid from Georgia this year. Is he a good quarterback? Well, he won a fucking national title. He looked good. I don't know. I mean, what's that? Would you rather have him or Malik Willis? I don't get this Malik Willis, because he can scramble. He's a good quarterback. Is this what the game's gone to? Is quarterbacks that can run, that can't throw, and I want a quarterback? I got running backs who can do that. I want a guy who can actually throw the ball, like a Van Dyke, like a Hayner from Fresno State. Carson Strong and Pickett, I'm really off because they sat out the bowl games and they don't have any balls. And I need guys with balls to be my quarterback. So I am off of those guys. I'd rather have Van Dyke or Thompson from UCLA. Anyway, that's how I look at it. Now I've got 4, 8, I got 9 Georgia defensive players I'm drafting, plus the running back Cook. And Walker looks great. Davis is second. The All American, I think it's signed Cine. Then Smith looks good. Walker looks good. Then they got their safety Walker and their cornerbacks Ringo and Kendrick, the guy who intercepted Michigan twice. Then you got another defensive lineman in Wyatt. So you got 3 defensive linemen. So this team is freaking loaded. But when they only give up 7 points a game, and then if you really watch the Michigan and Alabama games closely, you go, shit, the speed they got they got fast corners. These corners blow up all these little screens that irritate you when they throw a little side screen, and then the cornerback can't tackle the guy and can't intercept. These guys can. These guys are fast. The linebackers are fast. These are pro players. These are studs. I'd be drafting all 9 of these guys, starting with Walker and Davis, and then sign the Buckus winning linebacker it'd be any of those 3. And my defense just improved probably a touchdown. I went from giving up 20, like the whole league was giving up 23, 24 points. I'm a 19 on defense, and that's huge. Just with one of these Georgia guys, if I can get 2 or 3 of them, if I could get Walker and Sign and Kendrick, if I can get 3 guys on my defense, I got a top defense in the league. All of a sudden, my defense is like a 2000 Baltimore, or the 80. All of a sudden, I got the 85 Bears defense. I mean, I have incredible pass rusher. I got a stud linebacker who's so fast, and I got a cornerback who can tackle and cover and intercept and get on the quarterback and kill these little screens. So that's what I'm looking at. So all these Georgia guys, and when I hear all these other guys, Mel Kiper, I'm looking at his draft board, and he's got a guy from Washington. Okay, Washington has a decent defense. And then the next guy was the Georgia guy. And I'm like, no, the Georgia guy is much better than the Washington guy. And then I was watching him do wide receivers, and he did this wide receiver from USC this London. And I'm like, are you on drugs? No, like, why would you be talking about this guy? He doesn't, wide receivers from USC have never been any good in the NFL. So why would you now take this guy? I don't do a thing on wide receivers, but I do a thing on, well, I'll stay here for quarterbacks. And my internet must be slow, or I don't know what it is. It's a freaking nightmare. I'm trying to get to quarterbacks, but anyway, there's a lot of better receivers in London. The kid out of LSU, Bousset, is the best. And then I'm seeing Stingley, the great cornerback from LSU, got hurt. This guy should be the first secondary guy drafted. Honey Badger, Patrick Peterson, he's just better than all of them. And, he's falling to 20th. Kenny Pickett's not the answer. He's not that good. But he's better than Willis. I'd draft him ahead of Willis. I got to get my thing working. I don't know why it's not. Very frustrating. All right, so let's talk. What do we want to talk about? Any suggestions? I am wide open. Gold dropped $30, $40 yesterday. And the question is, Howard, you're telling me to buy gold. Why is it dropping? Well, it's dropping because China and Russia want to buy it. And they're the ones responsible who put the gun to the head of JP Morgan and says, here's $1 million. short it. We want to buy more. Um, the total now is 24,000 tons for China, 14,000 tons for Russia. US maybe has 1,000 tons. I doubt it. And Money Heist, they did 900 tons. 900, not even 1,000. That's how crazy that is. So um, they're the ones who want it to go higher, and that's why it goes down. It never goes down because, see, what you got to understand with gold and silver, it's not market driven. What's market driven? The Jerry Rice rookie cards, 100,000 is a PSA 10 is market driven. There's a lot of demand for a PSA 10 Jerry Rice because it's extremely hard to find one nicely centered that will get a 10. I have one that's fairly nice. It's probably 55-45, possibly even 60-40. I'm praying for a 10 on it. It's a mint card, but the centering was a bitch, and I looked for months back in the 90s, and this is the best one I could find. And my only regret is I should have bought 20 of them. Uh, Even though they were a little off center, the nines are still worth 15 grand. That's what I don't understand. The 10 goes for 100 grand and the 9 goes for 10 or 15. The 9 should be going for 50, 60 grand because there ain't a lot of 10s out there. But I do understand, since supply is extremely limited on 10s, why the 10 would get so much value. But that's free market, and gold is not free market. So when these chuckleheads who are on these YouTube financial guys talk about, oh, let me look at the trend on gold and see what's happening. And when they do that, they don't know what they're doing. There is no trend for price fixing. You cannot trend price fixing. It's fucking price fixed. It's being held down, not because of the supply and demand, but because China wants to buy more. And that's a whole different feature than supply and demand. Supply and demand means there's 100 people wanting the PSA 10 Jerry Rice. There's only 50 cards. Therefore, the price goes way up. In gold, there is 1,000,000 people wanting to buy 100 ounces, but the price isn't going up because it's not being held. It's not in market situation. Free market would dictate the price to be at least 20, 30 gold. If the rice card is 100,000, where do you think gold should be? But because it's not market and it's basically held down on purpose, the market's not in play. So it's not supply and demand. I heard that on one of these idiot little, YouTube things, and I get so upset because these guys are idiots and people are listening to them, and it frustrates me because they're getting bad information. I give you the truth, and I give you the proof because I'm giving you out of my notes from my master's class from an Austrian economic professor who was the best professor I ever had. This guy was very nice and knew his shit enough that I recite the whole freaking class without even looking at my notes, and I don't do that often. It's like me with football. I don't need to look at notes for football. That's why you don't see me writing crap down. I don't need to. I live it. So what you have is you don't have the market. So these guys that go, oh, look at the chart. Oh, silver's about to break into the 30s. Silver is a $300 an ounce coin. Gold is a $20,000 an ounce gold. The difference is, the Jerry Rice card on eBay, PSA 10 sells for 100,000. Now, if it's not graded, it sells for 1,000. Even though it's a PSA 10, because you don't know it's a PSA 10, it's not graded. That's why you get the cards graded and PSA. If it's not PSA, you're not going to get 100 grand for the rice. You'll get 10 grand. So it must be PSA for some reason, which I don't understand. If CSA grades it, or KSA grades it, or ABC grades it, and they deem it's a 10, why would PSA's 10 be more valuable than those 10s? So that's really the point. But if it's graded and it's a 10, the demand is there. That's free market. That's price is real. You go get a PSA 10 rice and you spend 100 grand on it. You know you got it. If you have one and you get it graded and it comes back PSA 10, and I don't know if I pay a Jerry Rice and it's a 10, I'm gonna put it in my pocket. It's worth 100 grand, and I'll go to my collection or buy one that's maybe an 8 or a 9, and I'll grade that and send it back to the guy. And that cost me 1,000 or two, but I got 100 grand on the rice. And that's my concern is, especially with a really mint mantle card. Oh my God. If you have a really mint mantle card, I don't know if I could send it to PSA because I don't know if the guy is going to give me my card because that's going to be worth $1,000,000. And I don't know if I was grading it. If oh my God, I got a mantle, it's worth $1,000,000. I mean, I wouldn't because I'm not that type of person, but I can see a lot of people going, it's in my pocket and I'll find this mantle and that's what's graded. Sorry, buddy, you got a 6. I got the 10. And that frightens me, but that's life, right? That's how people are. Um, so that's the problem with gold and silver. They're not free market driven. They're not supply and demand. The demand far, far outweighs supply. But what COMEX does, COMEX puts supply out that is not real. They're selling a million ounces of silver. They don't have a million ounces of silver, and that drives the price down. But it's not based on supply. It's not they're not selling to anybody. So they're not taking 20 ounces of gold and there's a buyer of 20 ounces of gold or a market maker. Like when you buy Coca-Cola, you buy from a market maker. When you sell Coca-Cola, you sell to a market maker. You're not selling to somebody. So if you go on E-Trade, that's where I go, and I got 100 shares of Coke and I go sell. And I sell my 100 shares of Coke. Nobody's buying it. It goes to a market maker. Then he grabs it. That's in like 30 seconds it's sold. He grabs it and then it sits there. And then now somebody else, your cousin says, I'll buy the 100 shares. Goes on, says, go to E-Trade, Coke, buy 100 shares. And if you notice, it takes 5 seconds because he's not buying from somebody. He's buying from this middleman, the market maker. And that's what is not in COMEX, right? They're selling it to somebody. Maybe it is a market maker. I don't think so. And there's nobody buying it. Or if it's an ETF, people are thinking they're buying it. So it's all fake. So I'm selling 1,000 gold coins that I don't have. And over here, this guy's buying an ETF, thinking he's buying the 1,000 coins, but he's not. There is no coins because the guy's selling is not selling coins. It's just paper that says, I got 1,000 coins, but too bad. And then the guy buys it, thinks, well, I got 1,000 coins. He doesn't have any. There is no coins. And that's the scam that is played. People are ignorant. Maybe if they buy the ETF, they're thinking they're buying gold. They're not. They're selling it. It's a pyramid scheme. They're selling your ounce to 100 different people. So 100 people think they have this ounce of gold, and there is no ounce of gold. Nobody will ever get the ounce of gold. So this whole thing's a scheme. Therefore, the price of gold, when I go sell it, I'll sell it for the market. It is not. It is fake. And that's why it's all based on China and Russia and a few other central banks in Europe wanting to buy gold for $1,900 an ounce. Hence, it's like depressing the Jerry Rice card that we know is worth 100,000 in the free market for 2,000. Would you buy a Jerry Rice PSA 10 for 2,000? Absolutely, because you know it's worth 100 grand. The difference is it's worth 100 grand. With gold, you don't know what the real price of gold is because it's in a fantasy land where JP Morgan's selling on COMEX because they run it, but they're not, nobody's buying, they're just selling. They're selling gold they don't even have and silver they don't even have to keep the price low. So these guys, China, Russia, and whoever in the central banks can buy it, probably half of Europe. They're all buying it because they understand gold is money and all the fiat currency. The more you print, the less it's worth, as I've told you and told you and told you, because I want to make sure that point hits home. That's all coming from my master's program, right? That's how I know about it. I went and got a master's in it. I'm telling you so I can protect my friends, my family here on Teaserking. So there is no market driven. So when you see these fake YouTubes of some guy trying to be smart, I don't even know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. um, saying, "Well, it's supply and demand." It's not supply and demand. There is no, it's not real supply, and the demand's there, but it's like you can't buy paper. You've got to go to the coin store and buy real gold. You go and you give the guy $2,000. He gives you an ounce of gold. You can buy the eagle, you can buy the cougar and the maple leaf, whatever you want to buy, you can buy it. And then if it drops $50, please do not panic. Like just what just happened, it's 1980 and then it goes down to 1940. It went down $30. Do not panic. As the Russians are getting their ruble backed by gold and everything's happening, do not panic. It's a $50,000 an ounce coin. Silver is $1,000 an ounce silver, if not more. That's just being conservative. It's the rice card, but it's you're not seeing that $100,000 target that you see on eBay for it. And then the problem is people don't know what to value it at. So what is this these stores do? They go, well, we'll take Comex and we'll add a premium to it because I know Comex isn't right. So you want to buy silver. What's silver right now? So silver right now is silver's 25.13. The problem is they're using Comex as the measuring stick to come up with. I'm at the store. Okay, it's 25.13. I'm going to add $10 to it. No, the 25.13 is bullshit. It's kept down. This is silver, US. It's kept down so they can buy. China wants to buy silver for production, for cell phones, for computers, for solar power, for batteries. They want to buy the silver for that. That's why it's cheap. And so they want to keep it cheap because they need to buy it. That's why silver is priced low. And the miners are so stupid, they're not realizing what the real value is. And they're going off of Comex. What the fuck are you going off of Comex for? Comex is not real. It is not market. So if I'm a miner, I'm selling it for $200 an ounce. I don't care. Now, where they get the miners in trouble is the miners are stupid. They get their delivery, so they know I got it. I got to sell it. So, oh, I'll give you 25 for it instead of going, no, I'm going to sell it for 200. And the miners getting together like OPEC, like the OPEC nations with oil, they should get together. And I don't know how many miners are and go, okay, it's 200 an ounce now. And if anybody wants to buy it for cell phones and computers and this and that, it's 200 an ounce. And there you go. And that would end it. And that would get it up to, and then it would go to market. That would be free market. Some guy comes in with $200 an ounce. The miners say, okay, we'll sell it. But the miners are stupid. They're not getting the 200. They're taking Comex. And that's the problem. So the coin stores don't know what to do because they're not selling it at where if I'm a coin store, my gold, I got to sell it for $30,000-$40,000 an ounce. But I can't because Comex says it's 1950, and therefore I can only get 1950 for it. But I'll put a premium of $100 out. So having dinner at my barbecue restaurant with the owner yesterday, and we talk about, well, silver's still 25 an ounce. It never moves. It doesn't get higher. And my response is, it's yes, it's price fixed, but it's really, think of it as a $300 an ounce coin that you can get for $30. Now would you buy it? And he says, of course. I go, that's how you got to think of it. Silver is a $200-$300 an ounce item, not a $25 item. But because Comex is 25 and the dealers are willing to take, the miners are willing to take 25 because they're freaking idiots. They're not. The first thing is it's like government. In government, you don't have any people like me in it telling them this is reality. In the miners, you don't have people like me telling them what's going on. You have the geologists, and they run the company because they're geologists. They can find the mine, but they're not good at finance. Wherever I worked, and I've worked at a couple of good jobs. I've worked on the engineering team and I worked on the IT team. I'm a financial person. They need, because they don't know finance. That's what's happening at the mines. They need somebody like me because they don't know. They're going off a COMEX going, oh, well, we'll sell it for 25 and at least we'll make a sale. Yeah, but you're taking uh, at least 10 times less than, it should be at least 250 an ounce, if not more, because there is again, the supply is zero and the demand is huge, getting bigger. And why is the demand getting bigger? Because of inflation. So what you have now is the demand for gold and silver is high with Russia, with China, with India. You should see all the jewelry India sells. So they need gold to make into jewelry, where Russia and China just keep it in bars or coins. And so you can see how strong the demand is in the U.S. I don't know what the demand is, but I know when you go to the coin stop now, he doesn't have much in stock and inventory. So demand far outweighs supply, but price isn't moving. And then what do you hear from these financial planners? Oh, they don't understand inflation. So the money's losing value. Where do you put it in real assets? You don't put it in the stock market, because guess what's going to happen to stocks? So your iPhone, your Apple, you're selling iPhones. The iPhone sells for what, $1,000? Um, as people lose value of their money and everything else goes up, they're going to have less money. Do you think they're actually going to buy an Apple iPhone for $1,000, or they're going to buy a little Android at Walmart for 100? Because that's what you can afford. And guess what? A phone's a freaking phone. Can I call somebody, text somebody, and take a picture and get on the internet? That's what I want from my phone now. And I can get that for $100. I don't need to spend 1,000 for an Apple. What the hell does an Apple do any differently? Um, so as people have less money, they're not going to buy as many apples. What's going to happen to their stock? It's going to go down because earnings are going to drop because they're not selling as much. And the silver that's in them should start going up in price. And therefore, their earnings drop. What happens to their stock? Their stock drops. As people need money, so this Chinese Evergrande that went bankrupt, and a lot of the people in China and America who are in the Chinese housing market need money because they're not getting their dividend payouts from Evergrande and the rest of the Chinese housing market. As that is bankrupt and they have high inflation in China, let's not forget. Now, they do have the gold, which will rescue them. And then what's happening is, because I just lost my train of thought. Let me get it back. China. Oh, shit, it was a good one, too. As China is, the Evergrande people, what is going to happen? They're going to need money, right? Okay, so what happens when you need money? Well, I start selling my stocks. I sell my extra houses. So maybe I bought 10 houses. Maybe I'm BlackRock. BlackRock's the dumbest company in the world. You don't buy houses like they're Jerry Rice baseball. I would be better if BlackRock would have bought Jerry Rice and Joe Montana rookie cards and Mickey Mantle and Jordan cards. I would think more of them for doing that than buying houses, because who's going to buy the house when interest rates go up? Nobody. And then you're going to need money. And what are you going to do? You're going to sell your house, which is going to lower it's going to, I need money. I'm going to sell my house. I need money. I'm going to sell my stock. You know what you're not going to sell? Your silver and gold. But since you don't own any, you can't do it. But you know what's going to hold the value? The silver and gold. Because I feel like the Raiders, the black and the silver and black, but here it's the silver and gold. But see, so what's going to happen is the value of the house is going to drop because it's already too high. The value of the stocks are going to drop because sales are going to drop. And if costs go up and sales drop, the value of the company drops because they didn't make their earnings and their expectations are down, and people aren't going to buy that stock. And people are going to need money. They're going to sell their stocks. You're going to have this frenzy. You ever see piranha have a frenzy eating? The housing market drops, the stock market drops. There goes the demand. Now, as I stated, the American people are all, we don't want gold, we don't want silver. Look, it doesn't move. Maybe I'm in Bitcoin, whatever. It doesn't move. Okay, well, since it's not moving, I don't want to be in gold and silver because I don't understand it because I didn't sit in Howard's master's class where it was freaking explained of why you own gold and silver. So as I'm sitting there, not listening to understanding economics, Austrian or classical economics, as it's called, um, I'm just gonna buy stock because that's gonna be safe for me. Or God forbid I buy a T-bill, a 10-year treasury and lose. I buy 100,000 and it's worth 10,000 after the 10 years. So as I'm sitting there, I don't I don't want to understand gold and silver. It doesn't move. I don't want it. I'm going to be an Apple and Amazon because those go up because they're controlled. Because when the Fed prints the money, that they're the ones buying it without earnings. I mean, the multiple, the PE ratios you want to buy are 20 or 30, not 500 or 1,000 over. So there's Amazon. So I'm in stocks. But wait, the stocks can't keep going up. They're going to start dropping because earnings are going to drop because people don't have the money. And the elitists who have the billion of dollars, guess what's going to happen to them? And you'll like the part. They're going to lose. Why? Because they're holding US freaking dollars. They're not in gold. If they were in gold, gold would be 20,000 an ounce now, but they're not. Bill Gates, the idiot in charge of Facebook, the idiot in charge of Twitter, aren't smart enough to buy gold. So they have their money in their stocks and in US dollars. Well, when the US dollar goes to zero because nobody wants it, again, supply and demand. I have this huge supply of dollars and I don't have any demand. China doesn't want it, Russia doesn't want it, Syria doesn't want it. What's been holding it has been the demand of petrodollars, oil. If you buy oil from Saudi Arabia, you have to give them US dollars. Well, that's gone. They're now in bed with China and Russia. China and Russia doesn't want it. So what's happening is the demand for US dollars shrinks, but they keep printing. Well, what happens when you got a billion oranges and no demand? We put it on sale. You go to a grocery store. What do you see? Hey, oranges 50 cents. What's going on? Oh, well, we got a big shipment in and we can't sell it. There's no demand for it. We got a huge supply. Well, that's what you have in money. You have a huge supply because they keep printing and printing and printing, which is inflation, and no demand, which is inflation, so now I have a lot and nobody wants. What's going to happen? It's going to collapse because there's no demand. Any product, and dollars are a product like oranges, you can only sell it at market rates. So if you don't have a market, you can't sell it. There is no market for US dollars anymore. Nobody wants it. With no market, guess what? It goes worthless, which is what's happening. But first, the yen and the euro are going to do that because nobody wants them anymore. So what should be happening is that demand should shift to gold and silver because that's real assets that are way, way, way undervalued. Silver at $25 an ounce is so undervalued. It's real money. It's silver. Hello, the demand should be through the roof, and it probably is. But here comes JP Morgan in China keeping it down so they can buy it cheap. It's not at the market. The supply and demand are all screwed up. There's way more supply than in real life, and the demand's way higher. Should be raising the prices, but it isn't because the guys who want to buy it are not raising the price on it. Back to my barbecue place, dinner with the owner, and we're talking about market and we're talking about ribs. He has a great restaurant, Boneyard. It's barbecue ribs are great, 1,000 times better than in Alabama, which is fake ribs. They're not even real ribs. They're pre-cooked or something crappy like that. So we're sitting there, and I go, "Are you buying Argentina or Brazilian?" I was in Amsterdam. They make a point. Amsterdam, Argentinians beef, Argentina ribs, steak. They make a point. It's supposed to be the best in the world. I go, "Are you using that?" He says, "No, I just use from around here." Okay, can you substitute the goods? Well, I try, but I can't, because now he's raising his prices. It used to be like $20 for a slab. It's now like $30 for a slab. And I go to him, you better be careful because you can only sell at market. This is a world of pure competition. This is a world of markets. I got the blue polo shirt. Okay. I will buy it for $40. You want to sell it for 120. There is no market at 120 just because it's got a freaking polo player on it. This is a very soft and comfortable shirt. And I got it for $39 at some mall, discount mall outside of Detroit. And that's the market, right? The market is saying this is what this is the demand line. This is the price I will pay you. And then you have your supply. And they make it and they sell it at 40. Okay. So my point with the market here is that people aren't going to pay for ribs if you get to $40, you're not going to be in business. You've got to keep your price down. You've got to somehow come up with a way of doing something else, but you cannot just keep raising the price on your ribs and your chicken. I paid $13. So I got a half barbecue chicken, and it used to be 9. Oh, it's 13. And I'm looking at them like, you're getting pricey on your chicken, because I can still go to the grocery store and buy chicken at maybe $2, $3 a pound, and I can get a whole chicken for the $10 and make, have dinner chicken. I can make my own barbecue chicken, and you're $13 now. You got to be careful because I can barbecue it myself. What will you can't start selling the chicken for $20. I says you're going to be out of business because you've got to make sure you cover the market. What will the market pay for it? That's all you can get. You can't artificially create this price. I'm going to sell ribs for $50 because it ain't going to happen. And then I told them a story in the Ukraine. I was in the Ukraine Christmas, and I went, and they had U.S. steaks at the hotel we were staying at. So I got the steak. It was $15. And I said to the guy, wow, this would be $50 in Detroit. And he goes, I can't charge $50 because nobody can afford it. The market will not bear a $50 price tag for my steaks. Same thing in Romania. I was in Romania a few years back. Same thing. Gourmet restaurant, beautiful steak and chocolate mousse and a nice salad, and the bill's $20. I go, man, he says, I can't charge the U.S. What you charge paying the U.S. because people are poor here. I won't get any business. I have to keep my prices low. So somehow he's able to have his costs lower. Maybe the government helps him. I don't know. Maybe the Big M helps him. We don't know what that is. I don't know, but he cannot sell it for what he should be selling it for because there is no market. And that's what's happening. The more you inflate, the less money you have. You cannot sell. I'm telling my buddy, you cannot sell your ribs for $40 for ribs. It's not going to happen. You either have to find a new place to get it, or you're going to have to put 7 ribs in there for the $25. But you got to keep your price down. You cannot keep raising the price because you will not have a market. He says, yeah, the people will just come for like their birthday. And I go, people aren't going to pay $40 for ribs when they got to heat their home and go to the grocery store. You're a luxury, but you got to keep it at $20, $25. You cannot go to $40, $45. Excuse me, I'm just curious who this is. Oh, okay. I might have a job. That's good. Anyway, so that's what you got to understand. You're in business. So you're in business, you can sell at the market. That's it. If your costs go high because of inflation, you can't raise your price because the market will not allow you. And the market's shrinking because that's what inflation does. I need more for gas, I need more for tuna fish, and I need more for apples and oranges. Therefore, because I need more, I don't have four ribs and I don't have for polo shirts. And yeah, the Bill Gates thinks he does, but what's going to happen? The money is also going to go down in value. So now I got $1 million, but it's only worth 10,000. It's not worth a lot. Therefore, because I don't have a lot of value, the value I think, so that's why I pulled my money out. So I had 75 grand in the bank. I pulled it out. I got 4 grand in there now, and I bought gold and silver with all the money. Why? Why would you do that? Because the money in the bank's not going to hold its value, but you know what's going to hold the value? Gold and silver. Here's the point. Here's the Austrian economic point that I can give you very, very simply. You can tell your 6-year-old kids an ounce of gold, $35, 1971. Ounce of gold, 2022 is 2000 an ounce. It's an ounce of gold. The gold didn't go up. The gold ounce is still a gold ounce. What happened? The loss of value in a dollar now takes where it took $35 now takes 2000 to buy the same freaking ounce of gold. That's your lesson for today. That's what you need to learn and teach your kids. Money is not backed by gold, goes down in value. That's what's happening. So remember that. That's why you buy gold and silver. You cannot put your money in Microsoft thinking I'm safe there. That's not going to help you. You can't put your money in treasuries. That's still in US dollars. That's going to go down. Bitcoin. Okay. We all want to argue Bitcoin's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It'll protect me. It's not going to protect you. It's still in US dollars. So will gold and silver protect me? Because that's in US dollars. No, it isn't. Gold and silver will switch faces, right? It'll be in whatever currency it is. It won't be in US dollars. It'll be, oh, great. All right, pardon me. Great news. I got a job. All right, Teaserking got a job. I can go buy more. To me, a job is I get to buy more gold and silver. That's why I work. Um, and football, of course. I do quite well in football, but I like the job for the gold and silver. Anyway, so um, I apologize for that information. So, well, Howard, wait a minute. Gold and silver are priced in US dollars. No, they're not. I went and bought dinner with a silver coin yesterday. Silver coin equaled a $25 dinner because the guy knows the value of silver. He accepted it. Okay. So, what is gold and silver? Gold and silver are money, and they are supply and demand. Once the COMEX is out of it and you go to supply and demand, I'm going to walk into Malibu and there's a house on the ocean, and I'm going to give them a coin. I'm going to give them an ounce of gold for the house. That's what gold is. Gold is incredible purchasing power that everybody recognizes, and you don't need it. You just get paid in dollars. So the question is, Howard, I mean, what do I do with the gold and the silver? I mean, I got to convert it. No, you don't. You can pay for it. You can walk up into a Toyota dealership, or better yet, a Mercedes dealership, and he's selling a Mercedes for 50 grand, let's say, a 300 class. And, right now, well, gold's $2,000. I need a lot of gold. Okay. As the money becomes less value and nobody can afford a Mercedes, he's got Mercedes on the lot. He can't sell because nobody can afford it. And the purchasing power of the dollar went down. Here comes Howard. Well, let's see. I can give you an ounce of gold for that nice $50,000 Mercedes. And he goes, yeah, I'll take the ounce, maybe 2 ounces of gold, but I'll take it because the ounce of gold will be worth $50,000. So I'll go and buy a Mercedes with an ounce of gold. I'll go buy a house with 2 ounces of gold because the value of the gold will be realized to be real money, unlike the the value of anything else. So the ounce of gold is gold will be worth whatever it is, right? It's perceived the demand for gold will go past the roof. It'll go to the moon, it'll go past the moon because people who don't think gold's anything will start realizing their dollar isn't worth anything. The stock market will start to crash. The housing market will start. Wait a minute, I bought the house for 200 grand. It's worth 400 now. Wait a minute, why isn't it going up to 6 and 8 and a million? Why is my house going down? Well, I need money. I got to sell the house, and I better sell it quickly before the money isn't worth anything because I'm getting paid back in U.S. dollars. So you're not even getting. You're getting U.S. dollars. Who wants U.S. dollars? The U.S. dollar value is gone. It's zero. Nobody wants it. There's no market for it. There's no demand for it. Nobody wants it. The only reason it's used here is it's legally we came up with instead of tomatoes, we said we'll use US dollars for so I can go to Boneyard and eat. I'll eat with the US dollar. He'll take it. Um, so that's the problem, right? There's got to be demand. You got to have a market. And so right now, the government's come out with, well, we'll print dollars, and you can go to Boneyard and eat chicken and use 13 of them. Used to be 9, now you need 13 to get the chicken. Okay, nobody raises prices. The value of the dollar drops. That's why gas is $4 a gallon. Now, why is it $4 in Detroit and $6 in Colorado or California? Is the state putting taxes on the gas? And how Michigan doesn't. Um, so that's really the key. Is what's going on. Um, the market and everything. So you have to understand the market, and there's no market for dollars. So it's just they print. They're not worth as much. Um, and then so you got to realize that the market is going down. Um, Pardon me, I apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. So everything's done in market. So you want to go into business, you're fine, but Okay, I apologize. Um, there's always markets. So what's happening is if you want to sell a product, you got to have demand for it, right? And that's the key to it is can I are my costs low enough to sell it? So in other words, people will pay $20 for the ribs, maybe 25, and I got to get them cheaper. But if it starts costing me more, I lose the market. Gold's easy because an ounce of gold was 35 is now more. So that's what you're doing. I, let me wrap this up. Sorry, I got some stuff to do for a new job and a new apartment. So you have markets, and so what's happening is the value of the dollar is dropping. People are, I'll be okay in stocks. I'll be okay in Bitcoin. It's still US dollars, but the cost will rise. The market will not take the new higher cost. The stocks will drop. People will need money because the value of the dollar will be dropping. And so they'll sell whatever it is to do it. Now, why? Well, it's all inflation. It's all printing money. Um, the more you print, the less it's worth, but the costs then go up because it takes more dollars to buy something, more dollars to buy oil, more dollars to buy ribs, more dollars to buy chicken, more dollars to buy shirts. Well, you don't get a raise. You don't go from let's say you're making 50,000, you don't go to 60,000 at your job. You're still at 50,000, but all the costs go up, which is the same as any goods and services, right? So if you're selling chicken for 20, but now your costs are 21, what do you do? Well, I can't sell it for 20 because it cost me 21. I got to sell it for 22. And the market says, no, 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 I'm not going to give you 22. I'm only going to give you 20. Now you can't be in business. And that's what I'm trying to tell my friend. And you don't want your money in dollars because they keep going down. So you get out of dollars. So you go, oh, I'll be in stocks. Well, that doesn't work. I'll be in CDs. That doesn't work. What works? Gold and silver. Because gold and silver will not be priced in dollars. They're the only thing that will not be priced in dollars. They will be priced in whatever currency and buy whatever goods you want. Proof. Buying dinner at Boneyard with a silver coin yesterday. It was not in dollars. He accepted the silver coin for the dinner. That's the point. So I can buy a car with a gold coin. I can buy a house maybe with two gold coins because we don't know what they're going to be worth. And the value of the house is going to be dropping because the guy's going to panic sell and the value of the dollar drops. So he's got a $500,000 home, but he can't get, if he gets a $500,000, the $500,000 is going to be worth 100,000. I mean, so the dollars themselves are not going to be worth the 500,000 that he wants. So all of a sudden the dollar value drops. So he's really only going to get 100,000, but gold's now $50,000 an ounce. I'll give you two gold coins for your house, for your $500,000 house. He says, thank you, because that's the only thing worth value. That's why we own gold. That's why the Chinese own gold. That's why the Russians own gold. That's why the Indians own India. That's why the central banks own gold. And for some reason, the US don't own gold and nobody wants it. They want the worthless dollar that is losing its value. And if you think the digital dollar is going to save you, all that is control. And it's the same fiat. It's the same, not backed by anything. It's the same thing that's going to keep losing value. So that's the point. So gold and silver will not be predicated to the US dollar. They will be in whatever you want. So that's the point of the whole exercise here. So you don't, that's why you buy gold and silver. It's they're keeping it priced low so they can buy more because once all the fiat dollars lose their value, why do you think Russia wants to get paid in gold for their oil and not US dollars? Because they know the gold's going to always have a value because it's not priced in any dollar. but the dollar is going to lose value. So that's why they're doing it. But that's why they're keeping the price down. They want to buy more and more and more because you can't have enough and they'll be able to buy more. So all of a sudden, Russia's going to come to, California and buy the whole freaking state for 10 ounces of gold or something like, I mean, not that, but that'll be the only thing that will hold value. And there will be nothing that will have value except that. That's what I know. That's what you now know. And that's why you can't look at gold and silver go, it doesn't go up in value because they don't want it to go up in value right now. They want to buy more. And eventually, okay, now let it run. And that'll happen soon. But that's why people are frustrated. Go, well, you told me for 5 years and silver's still $25 an ounce. It hasn't gone up yet. It will go up. Will Bitcoin? No, because Bitcoin you can't price in any dollar, and I can't go into the store and buy something with Bitcoin, but I can with gold and silver. And I've given you a few examples. Dinner, I've given you the example on the movie. Are we there yet? The guy buys 4 tires with a Yao Ming refractor. And yes, your Michael Jordan and your Mickey Mantle cards are not going to be priced in US dollars. It's going to be like gold. It's a real asset with a value of whatever's given. And you might buy the house with the Mickey Mantle card because they're going to say, shit, Mickey Mantle, it's got a value. I got the card. So that is what you want. Paintings, okay, pretty, certain ones. And that's it. Your car is an asset, but it depreciates to zero. But meantime, it has an asset. And that's basically it. So you want your silver, you want your gold. That is why you want it because it's not priced in US dollars. And all these millionaires who have $1 million US are going to be worth zero. And your stocks are going to be worth very, very little. And your house will keep a value. It's an asset, but it's already way high. It'll come down, especially as interest rates go, especially if you own multiple houses. If you own one house you bought for 200, it's worth 400, it'll slide down a little bit. But the people that'll be in trouble are the BlackRock people who have bought 1,000 houses. Nobody's going to want them. They're going to own property tax. They're going to own cost on them, right? They're going to own mortgage and rent and all that stuff. And people won't be able to afford the rent. They're going to have to sell the house and they're going to panic sell. And it'll be whatever they can get. And it'll be US dollars, which will be even worse. So we'll be buying houses for maybe 2 ounces of gold. You'll be buying a car for 1 ounce of gold, and gold will not have a value in US dollars. It's 2000 US will not be there anymore. It'll be whatever you can buy with it, and it'll be a lot. And because the supply is here, but the demand for gold will be, so it'll be like this, the demand, but now it'll be market. It won't be COMEX, and the price of gold will be somewhere up there because now it'll go to strict economics, which is how much supply is there and how much demand is there. And I guarantee you there's a lot more demand than there is supply. And if you take out the COMEX, it'll go to the real number and it'll make that $100,000 Jerry Rice card look like nothing. All right. You know your baseball. We'll check in. We'll get more detailed statistics as we get more information. I like to work with more information. We will get the statistics. We will get gold. We'll talk about the football draft. You do not want Malik Willis. I'd rather have the Fresno State quarterback all day. Van Dyke's too young to be out there. He's a winner. The Thompson from UCLA, he's a very good quarterback. I'll have to take a quicker look. My stupid spreadsheets kind of caught a little bit, so I'll go through that. Anyway, those are probably the best reasons I can give you to protect yourself, why gold and silver price isn't going up, but will go up more than anything, and why gold and silver is not priced in US dollars. And then you got to worry about the market. So I'm looking what's going to happen in the next 6 months to a year as people realize the US dollar with the heavy inflation has no value and no demand. And all these Russias and Chinas and Indias say, I don't want the US dollar. And as that happens, you cannot create Demand's either I want it or I don't. I want the blue shirt or I don't. If I don't want the blue shirt, nobody wants a blue shirt. You can't make a blue shirt and sell it to who? Nobody wants it. And that's the US dollar. All right, everybody. I got work to do. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. You can get my email. Please feel free to email me. Carrie, hello. And I thought I'd hear from you guys. You guys must be busy today. All right. So go get them. The lock in baseball was the Houston over 8.5. All right, everybody. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.